It being 1 o'clock, I'm going to open up this work session. Today, we're going to be reviewing 17 bills that have been retained. So I would like to ask the committee to try to keep everything concise so that we can get through all 17, that the plan is to execute all 17 of them today. And with that, I'm going to open up a work session on House Bill 54. This is a bill that allows alternative treatment centers to operate for profit. And I'd like to recognize Representative McGuire to make a motion.
I move on to pass.
Okay, so we have an ought to pass and a second on it. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Representative McGuire.
I'd like to say that this bill was passed unanimously by the policy committee. It was passed something like 350 to 15 in the House on a roll call vote, and the cost is approximately $13,000, which barely made it enough to make the regular calendar. This is something that will let the alternative treatment centers operate more efficiently, and with any luck will lower the cost to our medical cannabis users. So I'm in strong support.
Thank you for that input. If there's no further discussion, I'll close the work session and open up an executive session on House Bill 54. And Mr. Clerk, if you would do a roll call for a vote.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And again, and I'm sorry, again, the motion is OTP.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ought to pass, made by Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Ebel. Representative McGuire on the ought to pass.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney. Yes. Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes. Yes.
I will vote yes. Representative Priest filling in for Representative Munns.
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
we kind of skipped over you for some reason. I had marked you as a yes. I guess I was assuming.
Huh? Okay.
So with a vote of 9-0, House Bill 54N is recommended for OTP. Close the executive session on House Bill 54. My apologies, but I'd like to recognize Representative Reese, who's visiting us today and sitting in for Representative Munns on Division 1. Welcome. Okay, I'd like to open a work session on House Bill 97. This bill makes an appropriation to the Department of Environmental Services for wastewater infrastructure projects. And I would like to recognize Representative Griffin for a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to ITL this item. I know we're all in support, the House and the Senate, of wastewater funding. The state has made some commitments to that. And as a result of that, the Senate basically took this bill, altered the amount of money in it because there is no money to speak of in the state. And they voted to provide $2.5 million in fiscal year ended June 30th, 26, and $2.5 million for fiscal year June 30th, 27. So the intent of the bill is being met, but not the full funding, and we don't have the money to fund HB 97 as written. So I'm recommending ITL.
Can I get a second on that? Seconded by Representative Sweeney. Discussion, Representative Ebel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Griffin, for the summary. I was very pleased that the Senate was able to add 5 million for this very important, appropriation. I would just like, I understand that funds are very limited. However, the way this bill is drafted, it does authorize the governor to draw down more money on the warrant, should the money become available. I would prefer not to ITL it. I would prefer to pass it with that authorization. But I also could see a world in which maybe we could amend it to $5 million or something. I didn't know how folks felt about that.
Any further discussion? Yes, Representative Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Representative Ebel and her remarks, but I want to add that it's critically important for us to support wastewater treatment funding. And I don't believe that what the Senate appropriated is going to be adequate enough to support expansion of wastewater treatment facilities, which are absolutely critical to address our housing shortage. We cannot address housing without addressing infrastructure, and we cannot address infrastructure without significant investment of funds. So I will be voting against this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I'll close the work session on House Bill 97, and I will open an executive session on House Bill 97, and if the clerk would read a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL offered by Representative Griffin, seconded by Representative Sweeney, Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
No,
I'll vote no. Representative Priest,
No.
Representative Rung,
No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
5-4, ITL.
Okay. With a 5-4 vote, the recommendation is to ITL. And with that, I will close the executive session on House Bill 97. I will now open a work session on House Bill 111. This is an act to extend the position of right-to-know ombudsman for 2 years and exempting individuals who assist in the preparation of the right-to-know complaint at no charge from the unauthorized practice of law. I'd like to make a statement before I recognize anyone that this right-to-know ombudsman was made a contracted position administratively attached to the Office of State and Public Sector Labor Relations in House Bill 2 when we passed House Bill 2. With that, I would like to recognize Representative Sweeney for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move an expedient to legislate for House Bill 111.
Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay. With that, I will close the work session on House Bill 111 and open an executive session on House Bill 111. And Mr. Clerk, would you read the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL offered by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative Griffin, Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
yes,
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest,
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
9-0 ITL.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, House Bill 111 goes with a recommendation of ITL. I will close the executive session on House Bill 111. will now open a House session on House Bill 197. I'd like to just mention these are not in order, and I would recognize, let me just explain, House Bill 197 is relative to payment by the state of a portion of the retirement system's contributions of a political subdivision employers. And with that, I will recognize Representative McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move in expedient to legislate.
Okay. We have a motion to ITL and it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion on this bill? Well, Representative McGuire and then Representative Ebel.
Yes, thank you. This is a recurrent issue since the state chose to fund its share of retirement contributions to local employers from the employees themselves rather than from the general fund. And it has been defeated every time. This year, House Bill 2 includes funding for the changes that were made to the retirement system. That is for the group 2 tier B people who got an improved benefit. And I believe that may be in House Bill 282 instead of in House Bill 2. But either way, it's included, it's funded. The state is paying not only the normal cost, but also the accumulated actuarial deficiency, so that there should be no increase at all to any employer from the changes that were made in Senate Bill 282. And that is something that is reasonable. We changed what the normal cost would be, and therefore we should pay for it. But the standard contribution from the employers, the local employers have the full authority to choose how many employees they have and how much they pay them. And therefore, the state does not believe it should be paying toward that basic responsibility of the employer.
Thank you. Representative Ebel?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's true that this is a perennial issue ever since the state decided it wasn't going to contribute as much as it had been to the retirement dollars that the towns are having to come up with. Representative Munns is not here today. He did prepare an amendment that would fund this starting for fiscal 2027. If anyone would be interested in discussing this further as an OTP message motion, I can bring it forward. Otherwise, we can just proceed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I'll close the work session on House Bill 197, and I'll open an executive session on the House Bill. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL, which was offered by McGuire, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
No.
I'll vote no. Representative Priest,
No.
Representative Run,
No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
5-4, ITL.
Okay, with a vote of 5-4, the recommendation is to ITL, House Bill 197, and I will close the executive session on House Bill 197. Okay, I will open the work session on House Bill 215. This is a bill that requires landfill permit applicant to submit a report listing potential harms and benefits of the project. And I would just like to say that I'm going to make a motion to OTP this, but I believe we have an amendment. So I would like to recognize Representative Ebel with the
Okay.
amendment.
Yes, and I'll second your motion. If the LBA could share the amendment. This amendment was prepared, in communication with the, Environment and Ag Committee of the House. And, Representative Germana is here if folks want additional information beyond what I am sharing. But the original version of the bill was passed by the House. It was included in House Bill 2 as part of the site evaluation committee discussion on landfills. As we all know, the Senate removed, we did not agree with the Senate proposal on the SEC. And so it was decided to remove the whole section, all the sections on landfills from HB 2. So that's one of the reasons you keep a bill alive and you retain it. And so we have HB 215, but the amendment to 215, which I'd like to introduce, 2025-2970H, which you all should have before you, is essentially what 215 was, except that this is narrowing the analysis from all solid waste facilities, which is what it was before, which would have required a greater analysis for permitting of those facilities. And now it is applying to newer landfills. So it's a skinny down approach to HB 215. And if you want more detail, Representative Germana and folks from the department are here.
Typically, I don't take any input from the people that are here, but as a courtesy, I will ask the Representative Germana to come up and just give us a brief.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So just very briefly, when I worked on this bill along with Representative Aaron, the chair of ENA, and it passed through ENA unanimously. And the original purpose was to create this net public benefit analysis, right? If we're going to think about citing a landfill, we should have a list of potential harms, a list of potential benefits. And that's what the bill did. That was included both in HB2 and we attached it to SB 302, which also passed the House last fall. So last spring. So it is the position of the House, the content of the bill. And as Representative Ebel pointed out, what the amendment does is it narrows it very specifically to privately owned landfills. So it does not apply to solid waste facilities other than landfills, and it does not apply to municipal landfills, only future privately owned facilities.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you for your
Thank you, Mr.
testimony.
Chair.
Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I would like to,
Mr. Chair, would anyone like to second the amendment?
I'm sorry, Representative, could you repeat that?
I just wanted to make sure somebody seconded my motion to pass the.
Yes, I will second that motion
Thank
to
you.
pass the amendment. Thank you. So with that, Mr. Clerk, could we do a vote on the amendment? Representative Sweeney, do you have a comment? Sure. Is that okay with everyone? So show of hands on passing the amendment. So the amendment passes with OTP with a 9-0 vote. And with that, we'll move on to the main bill. That was just the amendment, correct? Right. So now we're on to the main bill as amended, House Bill 215. And I will make a motion to OTP the bill as amended. And we have a second from Representative Ebel. So with that, Mr. Clerk, will we do a vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ought to pass as amended, offered by Representative Cambrell, seconded by Representative Ebel. That's Amendment 2025-2970H. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest,
Yes. Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we have OTPA House Bill 215, and I will close the executive session on House Bill 215. I would now like to open a work session on House Bill 216. This is a bill relative to workers' compensation and creditable services towards retirement, and I'd like to recognize Representative McGuire.
Yes, thank you. This is my bill. It arose from an incident we heard from an individual who was grievously wounded in service. And while we were debating it, we found that he was not able to get a normal disability pension because he didn't have 10 years. And the reason he didn't have 10 years of service is that he could only get credit for 1 year of workers' compensation toward his pension. And that, the ED&A committee thought that was unfair, and so we brought this in. The trouble is that we don't know how many people this happens to. I've only heard of the one case. I haven't been able to find out from the retirement system, from the workers' compensation system, from a number of private sector workers' compensation covers. Nobody tracks this. If we were to prove this, it's a total blank check, and we have no idea how many people it would apply to, and therefore I can't recommend passing it as is. So I'm going to reluctantly move ITL.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I will close the work session on House Bill 216, and I will open up an executive session on House Bill 216. Mr. Clerk, would you do the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL, offered by Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest,
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
9-0 on, ITL.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we made the recommendation to ITL, House Bill 216, and I will close the executive session on this bill. Okay, I'd like to open up a work session on House Bill 572. This is a bill that established the Partners in Housing Program, an initiative under the Housing Champion Funds to assist municipalities, counties, and developers in building workforce housing and making an appropriation thereof. And I would like to recognize Representative Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move an expedient to legislate on House Bill 572.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you like to speak to it, Representative Sweeney?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we took the policy meat of this bill and we did put it into HB2. So the program, the Partners in Housing program underneath the Housing Champions Fund is in state law and it had been created. We did not put an appropriation into the budget to fund the program. Seeing as our state's fiscal outlook has not changed since we passed the budget, we don't have the funds to invest in this program at this point. But that's not to say for supporters of this program down the line in future budgets that the legislature can't review and make appropriations. So, but for now, since the policy has already been enacted as part of the budget, we don't need to separately pass this bill.
Thank you for that input. Any further discussion? Yes, Representative Evil.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, similar to the discussion that we had with respect to the funding of wastewater infrastructure projects, if there's a desperate need in the state, it's for housing, and if there's an excellent way to support housing, it's through the support of programs such as this one. Similar situation, Representative Munns did provide an amendment that would fund this at $5 million. It authorizes the governor to draw the money if the money becomes available. I'm happy to share the amendment if that's of interest. But either way, I will be voting against the ITL.
Yes, Representative Priest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to also hear more and move on this amendment that's been offered by Representative Munns. I agree with the statements that have been made by Representative Ebo. We hear all the time the number one need in New Hampshire is affordable housing. And if you talk with developers who are interested in doing this, they are in need of some sort of a partnership with the government in ways of funding this to make this happen. Currently, there is none. And if we're really interested in providing workforce housing for those workers in New Hampshire, this is the first step. And I think the amendment that's been offered is it's reducing the amount of money we put into the program, but again, it's addressing the issue. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I will close out the work session on House Bill 572, and I will open up an executive session to vote on House Bill 572.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL, which is offered by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Griffin, Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
No.
I'll vote no. Representative Priest,
No.
Representative Run,
No.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
5-4 ITL.
Okay, with a vote of 5-4, we've made a recommendation to ITL this bill, and I will now close out the executive session on House Bill 572. Okay, I'd like to open up a work session on Senate Bill 63. This is a bill relative to funding the Division of Travel and Tourism. And yes, I like to recognize myself to make a motion. Yes, I'm going to make a motion to ITL this bill. The rationale is that we have already funded the travel and tourism with $7 million a year for the next 2 years. And this would also affect the rooms and meals taxes whereby they would be getting automatic money coming from the rooms and meals, which kind of takes it out of the legislature's hands to make the appropriations each year. So I'd like to keep the status quo. So I'm going to be making an ITL motion. And could I get a second on that? Seconded by McGuire, Representative McGuire. Anybody like to have any discussion? Yes, Representative Evil.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sort of confused about this. I thought that this was a bill that was brought forward that changed somehow the way the rooms and meals tax was calculated, like above the line, below the line, for purposes of this funding item, and that the municipalities weren't going to be affected by it. So I don't know if the LBA can shed any light on this, and because it also went through some, let's say, some rigmarole in the Senate. If you could just clarify the situation, I'd appreciate it.
Melissa, could you shed some light?
Sure. So SB 63 for the travel and tourism calculation. So originally, before the municipal piece of the 30% went into its own dedicated fund, the travel and tourism calculation was in the M&R statute. It's not money from the M&R statute. It doesn't affect the meals and rentals tax at all. However, what it does is based on the gross meals and rentals tax revenue that is brought in. And before the calculation was changed, it was the meals and rentals gross tax net of the school building, or excuse me, net of the cost of M&R, net of the education tax credit, and then it was 3.15% of that was appropriated out of general funds, not out of M&R tax, to the travel and tourism. So when the law changed in 2021, whether it was an oversight or not an oversight, I wasn't there at that time, I'm not sure. This calculation was moved to the Business and Economic Affairs statute, and it was now net of the municipal calculation. So the municipal calculation based on the M&R tax is gross M&R tax, net of cost to administer, net of education trust fund, and then 30% goes to municipal. Right now, the way the statute is for travel and tourism, it is, like I said, it's gross M&R, net of cost to administer, net of education trust fund, net of the 30% municipal, and then they get their calculation or their general fund appropriation. So currently, the way that it's written, it's about $10 million a year. It was reduced this year to $7 million based on budget reductions. The agency did that themselves when they proposed their agency budget. This bill now it adds back in the municipal amount. So this new language would be gross M&R, net of cost of administration, net of education trust fund transfer, then they would get their amount. That brings it to about 14 million versus the 10 million. So municipalities are not impacted by this bill whatsoever because it doesn't impact the M&R tax. It is a general fund appropriation based on a calculation of the M&R tax.
Thank you. Right here. Yeah, did you get that?
Mr. Chair,
yes,
if I
Representative
could
Evil.
just follow up,
Sure.
I will support your motion because it sounds like this is a subject that's still going to be being discussed on both sides of the what do you call it, the wall for the Senate and the House. So I'll let them continue to discuss it.
I appreciate that. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I will close the work session on Senate Bill 63 and open an executive session to vote on the motion of ITL for Senate Bill 63.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL and Senate Bill 63, which was offered by you and seconded by Representative McGuire. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest.
Yes.
Representative Run.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, Senate Bill 63 is recommended to be ITL'd, and I will close out the executive session on that. And I'd like to open up work session on House Bill 607. This is a bill relative to the funding, the Hampton Beach Area Commission, and making appropriations thereof. And 607, is that you? Yes, I'm sorry. I would like to recognize Representative Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move in expedient to legislate on House Bill 607.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative Ebel. Now, I know we had a lot of discussion previously on this bill. Joe, do you want to just make a summary? I'm sorry, Representative Sweeney, would you like to make a quick summary? And
We took this, put it into the budget, and it seems that there's support on both sides for an expedient to legislate, so I don't want to come up the works.
okay, thank you for that summary. If there's no further discussion, I will close the work session on House Bill 607 and open an executive session to vote on House Bill 607.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On House Bill 607 ITL motion, which was offered by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative Ebel. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest,
Yes.
Representative Ron.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we've recommended to ITL House Bill 607, and I will now close the executive session on that bill. I'd like to open a work session on House Bill 611. This is relative to repayment regarding appointed counsel for indigent criminal defendants. And I would like to recognize Representative Griffin for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to recommend a motion of ITL on this item. The House Bill 2 that we all voted on, sections 216 through 222, essentially incorporate all the provisions of HB 611 with some minor changes. Thus, 611 at this point is redundant, and I'm recommending ITL for it.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Representative Ebel. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I will close the work session on House Bill 611, and I will open an executive session on House Bill 611 to take a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On House Bill 611, motion was ITL, which was offered by Representative Griffin, seconded by Representative Ebel. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest.
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we've recommended House Bill 611 be ITL, and I will close out the executive session on 611. We'll now open a work session on House Bill 619. This is a bill that makes an appropriation to the Solid Waste Management Fund. And I would like to recognize Representative McGuire for a motion.
Yes, thank you. There is a different funding source that was approved in House Bill 2, and therefore this bill is redundant. I move ITL.
And I will second the motion.
Thank you for that, Representative. So we have a ITL motion, Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Ebel. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I will close out the work session on House Bill 619 and open up an executive session on House Bill 619 to take a vote.
We're moving at record speed, Mr. Chairman.
It's called efficiency.
On the
It's a good thing we
motion,
have a really good clerk.
we'll see. On the motion of ITL in 619, which was offered by Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Ebel. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest, sorry.
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes.
Vote of 9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we have recommended ITL for House Bill 619, and I will close out the executive session on that bill. I will now open a work session on House Bill 624. This is a bill establishing a local river management advisory committee grant program and making an appropriation thereof. And I would like to recognize Representative Sweeney for motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move inexpedient to legislate on House Bill 624.
It's seconded by Representative McGuire. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We put this into the HB2 in the budget.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion? Representative Run.
Representative Sweeney, what was the amount that it was put into the budget?
I'm getting mixed signals on whether or not we did put it in the budget. So I'm going to pass it over to LBA.
I
Sorry.
don't believe this was put into the budget.
There was no, I'm sorry, could you repeat
This
that?
was not put into the budget.
It's not put into the budget. Okay.
Do you remember when we retained it? We just retained it for true
Retained for
retention?
dollars, yeah, just if
Okay.
you wanted to spend the money on the appropriation or not.
Understood. I would still move forward with an expedient to legislate as our state's fiscal picture has not improved since the budget and we don't have the money to fund this program.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Representative Run.
I'm opposed to this, to the ITL. I think this program is critically important to protect surface water quality of our rivers. And I think for $40,000, it does allow the governor, I believe, to draw a warrant if funds are, to get the funds for this. But I think for $40,000, it's going to reap priceless returns for that very small, relative small investment.
Representative Priest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will also be opposing the ITL motion. Our natural resources in New Hampshire is one of it's the backbone of our state. And this, our local rivers are very important. And besides enhancing the river management by protecting the ecosystems and addressing the issues of pollution and habitat degradation and invasive species, this also encourages community engagement and educational opportunities. And I have seen this happen in the communities that I have worked for in the past. And I think this program for $40,000 is vital. So I will be opposing the ITL.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. With that, I will close the work session on House Bill 624, and I will open up an executive session to vote on House Bill 624.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ITL, which was offered by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative McGuire. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
No.
I'll vote no. Representative Priest.
No.
Representative Run.
No.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes.
5-4.
Okay, with a vote of 5-4, we have recommended ITL on House Bill 624, and I will now close the executive session on that bill. Okay, I'd like to open a work session on House Bill 640. It's a bill relative to the transparency of federal agency operations within New Hampshire. And I just would like to state that I have, as a courtesy to Representative Amon, who could not be here today, but he did send some testimony, I would request that Representative McGuire read the testimony on his behalf.
Yes. This is a note from Representative Ammon from Hillsborough District 42. And he says, "Dear Chairman Cambrels and the members of House Finance Division 1, I'm writing regarding House Bill 640, which is advanced from the Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee with an ought to pass recommendation. I understand concerns have been raised that the state cannot force federal agencies to comply with transparency reporting. Voluntary cooperation is a feature, not a flaw. House Bill 640 is intentionally structured around voluntary cooperation, not coercion. The bill recognizes constitutional limitations while asserting New Hampshire's legitimate interest in federal activities within our borders. This represents one practical step toward protecting our citizens from federal overreach. This bill requires New Hampshire to publicly report, and this information goes to the public and to New Hampshire's congressional delegation quarterly. We create accountability through transparency and empower our citizens with information about their government, both state and federal. Protecting our citizens requires awareness. Currently, states have zero visibility into federal actions. State sovereignty means nothing if we remain willfully uninformed about federal activities affecting our constituents. The bill requests only aggregated, anonymized data about completed operations, nothing that compromises security or ongoing investigations. And it tells us which federal agencies voluntarily provided data, which agencies did not provide data, which agencies aren't operational in New Hampshire, federal warrants executed in their communities, the scale of federal investigations involving their residents, no-knock warrants on state soil, federal staffing changes and facility expansions, refugee relocations and deportations. This is nonpartisan governance. Regardless of political party, state officials should know basic metrics about federal activities within their jurisdiction. This is fundamental to federalism and protecting citizens' interests at the state level. The Department of Justice fiscal note estimates $240,000 annually for what amounts to quarterly form letters, database maintenance, and one annual report. A more realistic figure appears to be $65,000 to $75,000 annually, though the sovereignty and transparency principles matter more than the budget specifics. In conclusion, House Bill 640 provides a constitutional pathway for New Hampshire to assert its sovereignty and protect citizens through transparency. The Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee recognize its merit. I respectfully encourage Finance Division 1 to do the same. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Representative, for reading that. Well, I would like to just state that even though I agree with what was just read in principle, and it sounds very good, I don't see how we can, it's kind of a wish to compel transparency from the feds. So I'll take a motion from Representative McGuire.
I move ITL.
So I have an ITL motion and a second. Yes, Representative McGuire.
Yes, thank you. While I fully support transparency, and I would hope that the federal government would be more transparent, more like our government, if we can't afford $40,000 for clean water, I don't think we should be spending $75,000 publishing a list saying that no federal agency has bothered to report its activities. I just think as a matter of fiscal prudence, it's money that wouldn't accomplish very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, I will close out, what am I doing? The work session on House Bill 640, and I will open up an executive session on House Bill 640.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion of ITL, which was offered by Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
yes, Representative Priest.
Yes.
Representative Run,
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a unanimous vote of 9-0 to ITL 640, I will now close out the session on 640. Okay. Now I'd like to open up the work session on House Bill 164. It is an act relative to local records retention. And just make. Yes, and I would like to make a motion on this bill to OTP,
I'll second it.
seconded by Representative Ebel. And so the analysis on this bill funds and equips the local government record manager with online storage of records that are available for public access. And I apologize, I'm just looking at my notes here. Yes, this bill we had a work session on last month, and the full committee agreed that this was something that was worthwhile, and it was presented to us by the Secretary of State, and we agreed that we would OTP this. So if there's no further, yes, Representative Ebel.
Mr. Chair, following up on a discussion that you and I had, I did say that I would ask through the LBA for further information on the IT costs, just to sort of inform the discussion a little bit more. And my understanding is that there's somebody here from the state archives who could share some information about it.
Yes, would you come forward and identify yourself? And
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Ashley Miller, the State Archivist, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chair.
yeah.
Well, could you update us if you have any additional information on the IT charges that are related to this? Because there are two aspects to it. One is the startup cost, and the other is the ongoing maintenance. So anything you could share would be helpful.
So roughly $51,000 of this would go toward a database in which municipal governments can upload their records at the training of the local government records manager and make those accessible to the public via this database. There is an annual subscription that we would pay. And that $51,000 is broken up over a 5-year subscription. So roughly $10,000 a year.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Since the appropriation is only funded for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, and the effective date is not until 60 days after its passage, I would recommend changing that to the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027, since they likely wouldn't have enough time to expend the money.
so do we
And that
need,
can be a committee amendment just to change the year in section 6 to 2027.
okay, what do we need to do that? Do we need,
You would have to make a motion to
yes,
Thank you for the clarification. I'd like to make a motion that we do a committee amendment that will reflect what Mr. Mullen just said.
so we have a motion and a second. Yeah, show of hands to vote on it. Okay, 9-0, so thank you for that, Jack. Okay. So with that, if we vote on this bill now, it will include it'll be the amended bill that we're voting on.
so OTPA now.
OTPA, okay. So I will close out the work session on House Bill 164 and open up an executive session on House Bill 164 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question for the LBA.
Yep.
So that was section 6 and changing it to fiscal year 27?
Yes, so the sum of $150,000 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2027.
Okay, thanks. All right, Mr. Chairman, on the motion of OTPA on House Bill 164, was offered by you and seconded by Representative Ebel. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest,
Yes.
Representative Rung,
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, with a vote of 9-0, we have passed House Bill 164 as amended, and I will now close out the executive session on that bill. To open up a work session on House Bill 219. This is a bill relative to changes to the minimum electric renewable portfolio standard. And I will be making a motion on this bill to OTP. And I have a second from Representative Sweeney. So this bill, as it implies, it makes changes to the minimum electric renewable portfolio standard. I believe this is a good thing to do. I was my first 2 years on science and tech, and this is something that we've been trying to accomplish for the state for the last few years. And I believe that this is something that we should pass. So, yeah, Representative Rung.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to oppose the OTP because I think that it discourages us from diversifying the source of our energy. We have such a reliance on the state on fossil fuels, particularly natural gas, and we see how the changes in that market rate affects our utility rates. Any business knows that the more you can diversify your raw materials, the better, the increased stability you have in your costs and in your business. And this doesn't even account for some of the environmental issues that we have with using fossil fuels. So I'm going to be opposed to this motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Representative Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will also be opposing the motion to ITL this. Besides what my fellow representative Rung has mentioned, this provides less funding to encourage energy incentive programs. And I think there's a movement on now that property owners are taking upon themselves to put in these programs, these renewable energy programs for their properties. And again, any incentives that we can provide them to do this would be in our benefit. Thank you.
Just one correction to your statement, Representative. The motion is OTP.
Yes,
not-
I'll be opposing the IT. Yeah,
You said ITL, then.
okay.
You're
Yes.
opposing the OTP.
Yes, it will be. Yes. Thank you for the correction.
If there's no further discussion? Yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to note to you, just for memory wise, that when this bill got put into HB2, the effective date was bumped out to January 1st, 2027. So it would take place in the next biennium. Currently, if this bill does pass, it does impact what was put into HB2, which was that during this biennium, $1 million will stay in the Renewable Energy Fund, and anything over that will flow to the general fund, which was about $4 million per year. If this bill does pass as is without the effective date changed, that will reduce the general fund appropriation by 1.25 to 2 million per year.
Could you just clarify that again? If we do not take a certain action, it's going.
Sure.
Yes.
If this bill passes as is, it's going to currently affect what was put into HB2, which gives the general fund appropriation $8 million extra over the biennium. This bill reduces what goes into the Renewable Energy Fund by $4 million over the biennium. So if it is passed, that $8 million that was in the budget that would go to the general fund will now be reduced to $4 million over the general fund, which is why Division 1 pushed this bill out when they put it into HB2 before the Senate removed it. They pushed the effective date out to July 1st, 2027, so it would impact the next biennium and not the current biennium. So by passing this bill, it does take a $4 million hit to the general fund.
Okay. Any further? Yes, Representative Sweeney.
I would move an amendment to line it up with what we did in HB2. And we'd have that amendment prepared probably for the full session.
Sure, it would be a committee amendment, and again, it would keep everything the same, the policy the same. It just changes the effective date to be July 1st, 2027, the next biennium.
Okay, so if
I would move that.
move to okay, so we have a motion to make an amendment. It's been seconded. Any further discussion on that? Representative Evil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna, I agree with Representative Rung and Representative Reese. I'm going to be staunchly opposing the OTP motion for HB 219, and on that basis, I definitely will also be opposing the amendment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, so with that, I will close out the. I'm get to get confused here. We'll close out the work session on 219, and we will take up. We'll do an executive session first to vote on the proposed amendment. Can we do it? Show of hands for the proposed amendment. So those in favor of the amendment.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to request a roll call. Also, I do
Okay.
want to wage my opposition to voting on amendment that's taking $4 million out of the general fund, whether it's next year or the year after, without having it in writing. I'd like to have a printed fiscal note on that. But if that's not possible, the minimum I would like is a roll call on the amendment.
In,
Can I
yes,
just add just a little bit of clarification for that? So this will not impact the next biennium general fund. So currently, this biennium is where the budget put forth that the general fund would receive any excess funds out of the renewable energy fund. That is just for 26 and 27. In 28 and forward, it reverts back to the original law, which is any money that's received in the renewable energy fund stays in the renewable energy fund and does not go to the general fund. So by pushing the date out to the next biennium, there is no impact on the general fund.
yes, Representative Ron.
Thank you. Melissa, I have a question. So if we ITL this bill and the amendment, what changes then? So if nothing changes, then why don't we just ITL it?
It wouldn't change in this biennium, but it would change in the next biennium. This policy would take place in the next biennium.
Yes, Representative Ron.
In the next biennium, that will be after we have a new general court elected. I would prefer to leave that decision up to them.
We do that sometimes, but, and sometimes we don't. So,
Sorry.
okay,
I'm sorry.
so Representative Ebel.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify again what happened in the Senate. What happened in the Senate is they removed what was basically 219 from HB2. Is that not correct?
That is correct. So we had the bill retained so that we could,
No, but sometimes we ITL. Okay, I just wanted to clarify what happened in the Senate. Thank you.
okay, so with that, I will close out the work session on 219 and open up an executive session on 219 when the first order of business is to take up the proposed amendment. And with that, could we do a roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Okay, I'm assuming that Representative Cambrels, Chairman Cambrels, and Representative Sweeney are making the motion on the amendment.
Yes.
The amendment.
Yes.
Okay, the proposed amendment will be a roll call of ought to pass as amended. The LBA will be providing us language before the next full committee meeting. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
No.
Representative Leishman, I will vote no. Representative Priest,
No.
Representative Rung,
No.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
5-4.
Okay, so the amendment passes with a 5-4 vote. And now we'll take up the OTPA motion.
Okay, on House Bill 219 FN, ought to pass as amended, which was offered by Representative Cambrell, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
I'm sorry.
The bill is amended.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler, Representative Ebel.
No.
I vote no. Representative Priest,
No.
Representative Rung,
No.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
5-4, same result.
Okay, so with a vote of 5-4, we have moved to OTPA, House Bill 219, and with that, I will close out this session.
Mr. Chair, I just want to thank you for calling for the roll call on the amendment. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, we'll now take up House Bill work session on House Bill 246. This is a bill directing the State Conservation Committee to implement the Conservation District Climate Reliance Grant Program and making an appropriation thereof. And on 246. This is, I'd like to recognize Representative Ebel for a motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's my pleasure to make a motion of ought to pass on HB 246. I think we've had an extraordinary amount of very effective testimony on the value of this program. $50,000, even in a time of revenue strife, is a small amount of money to assist our farmers during this challenging time. And so I'd like to recommend ought to pass.
Thank you. Seconded by Representative Sweeney. Well, all the things that Representative Ebel said, I am in agreement with, and I think it's a small amount of money to put forward for such an important initiative. So with that, do we have any further discussion? Okay, I will close out the work session on House Bill 246. Open up an executive session to vote on it. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ought to pass, which was offered by Representative Ebel, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Priest.
Yes.
Representative Run.
Yes.
Chairman Kimbrells.
Yes.
9-0.
Okay. With a vote of 9-0, House Bill 246 is voted to be OTP'd. And with that, I will close out the executive session on House Bill 246. Okay. And believe it or not, we are on our last bill. So I thank everybody for being so efficient. This is the 17th bill. And by the way, we had more bills than any other committee retained. So I thank everybody here. So I will open up a work session on House Bill 365. This is relative to proof of United States citizenship for indigent voters. And I believe Representative Sweeney is going to make a motion on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move ought to pass on House Bill 365.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to pass, ought to pass by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative Griffin. A little discussion on that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill, if passed and signed into law, will strengthen our practical and pragmatic voter ID laws in the state of New Hampshire, giving voters that are registering to vote who need to find proof of their citizenship a support structure in place through the Secretary of State's office to find, identify, and produce that proof of citizenship while they're registering to vote. So I think it's a great support mechanism to our already passed voter ID laws. It does not change our voter ID law requirements or what we have expected of the state beyond what has already been made into law. This just gives those that are registering to vote and the Secretary of State's office the support structure that they need in order to comply with the law.
Thank you. Representative Ebel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We talked about this quite a bit during the work session. I'm going to be opposing the ought to pass motion. It is a relatively expensive program at this point. There are a lot of undefined terms in here, like what indigent means, what a reasonable effort means. There's also not at all clear how the Secretary of State's office is going to be able to track down the information that they need to track down. And I mean, if I was going to do anything, I might interim study this because it's certainly a very worthwhile endeavor. I just think this bill is flawed. So again, I'll be voting in opposition.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Yeah, Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll actually be voting in favor of this. I was just looking back on the notes and refreshing my memory, and the Secretary of State spoke in favor and said there was less than 1% of the voters that would be able to provide acceptable ID, and he encouraged people to get their documents well in advance of voting. So I'll be voting in favor.
Thank you. I'd just like to state for the record that I believe it's just one more, it's a good thing. It's making it easier for certain people to vote. And again, I'm in agreement with Representative Leishman. It's a very, very small, it's a fraction of 1%. But I believe even though it's a small fraction of a percent, we should offer these people the ability to be able to get proof of citizenship. So I think it's a good thing. And with that, any further discussion? Yes, Jack.
Chairman Cambrils, I would just like to point out that the effective date is July 1st, 2025, as well as the appropriation would need to say the biennium ending June 30th, 2027 for $50,000 rather than the 25 per year, considering the effective date of July 1st, 2025 is already passed.
So recommendation,
Do a committee amendment to change that.
60 days after pass. Okay, so we do.
Or, yeah, July 1st, 26, you're up to the division.
Okay, so
Might be helpful for people that want to register to vote for the municipal elections, which are in March. So 60 days after passage should cover it.
So we're making an amendment to the bill to change the date. Can we do a show of hands for the amendment? Is that okay? So those in favor of the amendment? Okay, 9-0. Yes, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick comment to make. I really think that this bill is disproportionately affecting our lower income communities. And that's why I will be opposing the bill. Thank you.
Representative McGuire.
Yes, it is disproportionately affecting our lower income communities because that's who's indigent. This bill is designed to help the indigent if they have trouble proving their citizenship. And I would hope that you would support that.
Okay, so I lost track of, so we, right, but I want to make sure that I closed out the
We can discuss in an executive session.
we can do it and we can discuss, okay, so we're in an executive session now on 365. And we'll take up a vote of ought to pass as amended.
All right, Mr. Chairman. So the motion of ought to pass is amended, which was offered by Representative Sweeney, seconded by Representative Griffin on House Bill 365. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
No.
I will vote yes. Representative Priest.
No.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes. You threw me off.
6-3.
It's 7-2, I believe.
Oh,
She said yes, so that's why she threw me off. 7-2. And she said yes.
oh, you said yes?
Yes.
Oh, I just wrote, okay, sorry about that.
That's why I was freaked out. I was like,
What did I do wrong?
Yeah. 7-2, Mr. Chairman.
okay, so with a vote of 7-2 to OTPA, House Bill 365, and I will close out the executive session on 365. And so that concludes our business. I have an announcement from.
Representative Canberra,
Yes,
can I just jump in real quick?
Yes,
I just
please.
noticed something on HB 246, so you could possibly open the executive session back on that bill. It looks like that one also needs an amendment because the effective date has passed.
Which one was that?
This is
246.
HB 246. You did an OTP. That's the
Oh,
agriculture
okay,
bill.
yeah,
the farm bill.
Okay.
the OTPA.
So the amendment would say $100,000 for the biennium ending June 30, 2027, and the act shall take effect 60 days after passage.
Okay, so I would like to reopen an executive session on House Bill 246. I have a motion to reconsider. I got a second. So. Well, thank you. So we have a motion 9-0 to reconsider House Bill 246. I'm sorry, the silent second. Only. And so what would, we need a motion to,
No, we haven't voted on reconsidering that.
so we have to reconsider the ought to pass as amended?
No, it wasn't as amended. It's just ought to pass.
Vote for the amendment, then not to pass it.
Okay, so we have an amendment in order to change the,
Motion, approve the motion to reconsider.
I'll make the motion on the amendment, on the amendment, on the amendment. I'm making the motion on
okay,
the
so we
amendment.
have a motion to, and a second to, on the reconsideration, on the amendment, okay.
Can't do the amendment until we reconsider.
Show of hands
Show of hands.
on the reconsideration.
Show of hands on the reconsideration. Okay, 9-0 to reconsider House Bill 246. Okay,
Now accept the amendment.
okay, now we have an amendment, who wants, you moved it, so we have Representative Evil and Representative Rung moving and seconding the amendment. And the amendment is to change
To change the dollars to be $100,000 for the biennium ending June 30, 2027, and to change the effective date to 60 days after passage.
Okay, so we know what we're voting on.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Yes, Representative McGuire.
If we're making it 60 days, if we're making the effective date 60 days after passage, we don't have to move the entire amount out of the current fiscal year. I think we should leave it alone.
You could do both. The only hesitation was how long will the Senate take to pass it? So I
It's-
didn't want them to lose the 50,000 in that first year if they passed it in. If it maybe went to the governor's office and the governor signed it in October, and the appropriation was for June 30, 2026, it would now be 2027, and they wouldn't receive that 2026 appropriation.
Whatever. I think that they should have some of the money at least as early as possible.
So yeah, so just, that's a great question, a great statement. So when it says for the biennium ending June 30, 2027, as soon as it's passed, they will receive the money. It doesn't wait till the end, they get it.
Oh, okay, so it's for the biennium rather than for the fiscal year.
Thank you for that. Okay, so with that, Mr. Clerk, we'll take a vote
Can we vote on the amendment?
on the amendment. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so we'll do a show of hands for the amendment. 9-0 on the amendment. And now we will retake up House Bill 246 as amended. Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 246 as amended with language coming from the LBA prior to our executive session. Motion was made by Representative Ebel, seconded by Representative Rung. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
we have done a lot today. Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Representative Munns, I'm sorry, Representative, see, it's getting long.
It's-
Representative Priest, I didn't cross a name out on that. Representative Priest,
Yes.
now Representative Ron,
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, so with a vote of 9-0, we are OTPAing House Bill 246, and I'll close out the executive session on that bill. And that concludes our business today. Like I said, I'm very happy we got through it so fast because everybody was starting to get tired, including myself. So thank you all for making it such an efficient meeting. Any Representative Weiler, do you have something to say?
So the last division that's going to report will be Division 2 on the 16th of October. So hopefully that will finish up all their business. And we're looking at the following week for a full committee exec session. And I've looked at, somebody had a meeting on the 23rd that would have interfered. We're going to take the whole day because obviously we're going to have these 17 bills plus another 10 or 15. So I'd like to go 22 Wednesday, the 22nd of October, starting at 10 o'clock. And hopefully we'll get through all the bills. If we can do as quick as this, we should be able to do it. So if you'd set that in, does anybody have a conflict?
What day was that again?
22 October, a Wednesday. Normally, we wouldn't have this room. This is not, but we checked with the judiciary, doesn't plan to use it on Wednesday. So it'll be okay for us to meet here.
Mr. Chair, I don't expect you to move heaven and earth because I won't be here, but I'll be gone that week. I'll be back the next week.
The
But I
whole
know-
week.
Yeah.
I have a doctor's conflict there too. On that day, but I guess it can be changed if it has to.
All right. Probably any day I pick, we'd have a conflict, but hopefully we can get replacements. We're giving them plenty of time. Thank you. I'll set that up then.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, our next meeting will be the full finance meeting when that gets set up. And I thank everybody for showing up today and for being so patient because I know it was a lot of work in one session, so.
Good work.
I appreciate the efficiency.